Okay, here's the situation. I'm afraid I'm never gonna have a 5-star read again in my entire life. I used to rate every book 5 stars. I literally gave them out like candy, but now I genuinely don't know the last time I had a real 5-star read. I feel like I never find a book that actually affects me in a way that is worthy of 5 stars, because these days I tend to give 5 stars out more as if the book changed my life, if it really had a huge impact on me, that kind of thing. And I feel like I never ever find books like that anymore. Now, my question is, am I just choosing bad books? Have books gone down in quality? What is the situation? Why am I not finding these life-changing books? Because I feel like I need that. I feel like I just need to feel something, you know? So in today's video, we are going to be reading every book I can that I think will be 5 stars until we actually find one that is worthy of that 5-star title. Now, as I said, I save 5 stars for books that literally changed my life. So some books for me that would be 5 stars are Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. These books to me are perfect. They have no mistakes, no corrections, nothing. They are just such fantastic reads to me that I could give no notes. And that is what I'm looking for in today's video. Now, this video could take forever. It could be super quick. I don't know. But we're gonna read books that I think are gonna be 5 stars for me until we find one. And we're gonna see how it goes. I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to hopefully find a 5-star read. Fingers crossed. And I'm excited to bring you guys with me, so let's go. Okay, so after much debate and deliberation, I have been studying my bookshelves, trying to pick a book that I really feel like could be a 5-star read. We have landed on our first book of this challenge. I'm going to be reading Recursion by Blake Crouch. I chose this because last year I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I was honestly just blown away by the story. I felt like Blake Crouch's writing was the kind of thing that it's impossible to put down. I read the book in less than 48 hours, and I felt like all the plot twists were just so crazy that it was a nearly perfect book to me. So I'm hoping that this one is going to be the same. This is kind of considered like a real life sci-fi. It like takes place in the real world, but it's definitely very science-y, very futuristic technology, and I think it's going to be pretty incredible. So I'm excited to get into it. Let's get reading. Time for a recursion update. It has been about a day and I am a little over halfway. I'm 216 pages into this book and I'm really enjoying it. It has a lot of the same elements as Dark Matter in the sense that we follow a family and it has a lot of scientific jargon that I am honestly not fully understanding, but it's very, very sci-fi set in the real world. Essentially in this book, you're following all these people who have these false memories, and they have this thing called false memory syndrome, and you're kind of trying to figure out what exactly is going on, why that's happening, and you're following the scientist who created a whole thing that caused this, and a family. And I am just so sucked in. I'm really interested in what's going to happen with the scientist, what's going to happen with the family. I just want to know what's going on. So my plan is to finish this today. Not sure that it's a 5-star, but I'm really enjoying it so far and I'm excited to see how it ends. Okay, Recursion. I just finished this. It took me a few days to read, and I will start by saying I really, really did enjoy this book. However, it was not a 5-star read for me. As far as Blake Crouch's books go so far, I've read this in Dark Matter, and Dark Matter was hands down a 5-star read. This one, though great, was not as good. I made some notes as I was reading, and my opinions about some of these notes changed as time went on, but I'm still gonna read kind of what I was thinking in the moment because I think it's interesting, but I just really want to get into my thoughts on this. So as per usual with Blake Crouch, I'm learning the science in these books are maybe a little too complex for my little brain. Like, I read it and I kind of just read these words about these scientific theories and different things that are going on, and my eyes just kind of glaze over and I'm like, what? But I still think that despite that, the books are very enjoyable. It's something you can still understand and comprehend what's going on, just maybe not to the fullest extent. In this book, you have two main characters. It kind of switches back and forth from their point of views. One is a scientist who created this memory chair. The other one is just a regular old guy. He's a New York police officer. He's just living his life. He wants a second shot. I found that I really liked both of these characters. However, spoiler, there is some romance in this book, and I found that I wasn't really believing the romance between these characters. I didn't really feel attached to them in any way. In the end, I felt like it was really sweet, but like I just felt like it didn't completely make sense for them to just fall in love. But I think that's also because by them falling in love, it's like our main character Barry was kind of forgetting about his daughter, and the whole reason he ever wanted to go back in time was to try and save his daughter. So by falling in love with this other woman, he then never married his original wife, therefore he never had his daughter. So I felt a little bit like thrown off by that. But like I said, in the end, it ended up being okay because he does go back. Like, he saves everyone and it ends up being really beautiful. Like, all the loose ends are tied up. But for a good portion of the book, I felt pretty off about that. I will also say, along with everything in the end being really sweet, I feel like it was wrapped up in a really logical sense, in that everything that the characters did worked and like moved the story along in a good way, but I fear that it was too complex in a scientific sense. So again, I was a little confused in that sense. Like, I don't really understand how everything ended up working out, but I know that it did, and that's what matters. But I feel like Blake Crouch just has this way of writing these books that not only are really thrilling, really awesome, but they also have a way of making you like recognize what's important. For example, this book was following memories and time and second chances, and it's like in the beginning you're thinking, oh, wouldn't it be so cool just to have like unlimited chances at life and you get to change what you do, you get to make it perfect. But then as you learn like more throughout the book, you're like, maybe memories are created with the limited time that you have, and maybe that's why our memories are so great. Like, maybe having one chance, one shot is what makes it so special. And I just love how Blake Crouch makes things meaningful while also just keeping everything so fun and entertaining. Like, honestly, this book, again, was so awesome to me. I like that it was similar to Dark Matter in the sense that it was like focusing on the relationships and the families, and also that it was like sci-fi but set in the real world, and it was fast-paced and thrilling. But for me, this one just didn't hit that 5-star mark. I'm thinking this is more like a 4-star. I would absolutely recommend reading it. It just wasn't necessarily my 5-star that we need for this video, but I did love it. And I'm excited to move on to the next book because we're still on the hunt for a 5-star read, people. So I think I know what the next one I'm gonna read is. I think I'm gonna read Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley, which is a romance that revolves around music, and I've heard is similar to Daisy Jones and the Six, and also has some elements of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which sounds like my perfect book. So I'm excited to get into it. Let's go read. I'm currently on page 144 and there's like 265 or something in here. So almost 100 pages left, and my feelings right now are very mixed, very undecided. I keep going back and forth about how I feel. We're gonna finish this hopefully today and see how I end up feeling, but I have a strong feeling it will not be a 5-star. And that's it for now. Let's talk about my next read. So I recently finished reading Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley, and I have quite a few thoughts on this one. It certainly was not the book that I was expecting. I fully thought this book was going to be so up my alley, most likely a 5-star, at least 4.5, but I felt quite disappointed by it. I enjoyed parts of this book. I found the setting to be very reminiscent of Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, which is one of my favorite romance books. I really enjoyed that part of it, and like kind of just the era that it took place in. I found that to be very comforting, nostalgic, fun. It was set in the early 2000s, kind of took place over like a long period of time, but mostly set there. And I also liked the middle portion of the book. I found it to be more interesting than the rest of it, but it still wasn't great. My main looming thought with a lot of this book was essentially what Sarah Caroli said in her Goodreads review, which was this felt like the author had a lot of early 2000s music opinions and really wanted to share it somewhere. That's kind of what I was thinking the whole time. Every chapter was based on a song, like it would either talk about a made-up song in the book or it would talk about a real song and kind of dive into that song throughout the chapter, which I found interesting, and I did find some songs to be something that I learned a lot about, but it doesn't mean that it made it good. It just felt like the book could have been great, but something was missing. I felt like I could never fully connect to the characters, never fully get into the story, because it's like the author was holding back in what she was telling and like the way she was writing, so it just didn't work for me. I did feel like our main character Percy was relatable in that she was a 20-something trying to live her life, navigate her 20s, and kind of just like find who she was, but I also found a lot of her experience to be kind of just uninteresting, and I didn't really like how she and Joe interacted throughout this book. I really thought this whole book was a romance, but it kind of left me feeling very much wanting in that regard, because that was absolutely not what it ended up being. It was like, I just felt like a lot of this book was very distant. I just didn't connect with this author's writing style. It was a really intimate story that felt like I was watching it from afar, if that makes sense. So with that being said, this was like a 2.5, maybe 3 stars for me, unfortunately. I really wanted to love it, but I just didn't. So that was that. And now I'm gonna move on to my next read, which is The Ministry of Time, and I'm so excited for this one. So let's see how this goes. I hope it's better than Deep Cuts. Let's go. Hello, if you're still here, we are moving on to our 3rd book, and I have made a decision. At first I thought I was gonna read The Ministry of Time, but I ended up landing on a different book. I think this one's gonna be more up my alley right now. I actually ended up choosing none other than Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. To me, this is kind of a surprising choice because I don't have the greatest track record of Emily Henry books being 5 stars. The only one of hers that I've rated 5 stars is Beach Read. Love that book to death. But the reason I chose this one is because I've heard it's similar to The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is one of my favorite books. So I'm hoping that I really love it, because romance mixed with like the suspense of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and like the storytelling aspect, I think I'm really gonna like it. So fingers crossed, we're gonna jump right into it and see what happens. Okay, hi. I haven't done like an update or a check-in in longer than I would have liked, but I am slowly but surely making my way through Great Big Beautiful Life. It's taken me some time, but I kind of just want to touch on some things that I've noticed in here. For one, I feel like Emily Henry's writing has improved. Like the way her writing is very much more intriguing to me. It's keeping me drawn in, which normally her writing can quickly make me fall out of the story, but I'm not finding that with this one, which is really exciting. Another thing with this is I find the banter between our main characters, Alice and Hayden, is just impeccable, like so good. I am so here for like good banter, and I feel like you don't find it often, but Emily Henry is always really great at it. But once again, it just feels better in this book. Like something about it is better. I'm also really enjoying the storytelling that we have from Margaret, the woman that they are writing a story on, because in this book it's kind of like a competition between these 2 journalists to see who can write like a biography on this really famous woman who is in her old age, and she's kind of putting them to the... Okay. Hi, my cat knocked my camera over. Anyway, as I was saying, she's kind of putting them to the test in this book to see which one she thinks is the better writer, which one can write her life story better, and it's really interesting. A final thing I will mention is the relationships in here are very interesting. I find that Alice has some really strong friendships, which I love to see. We love to see people supporting each other. I was gonna say girls supporting girls, but she also has a guy friend, and I think he is just so funny. I'm actually thinking he's my favorite of her friends, but I love the way that they support her. I also love the way the relationship between her and her mom is being shown. I think it is important to sometimes not have these perfect family relationships in books, and this one certainly is showing that you can still love your family member, but maybe not have the best relationship with them. And I'm finding that to be relatable because Alice is not super close with her mom. It's kind of, I don't want to go too in depth in case you go read this, but I'm finding that I am seeing myself in it a bit, and I'm really appreciating that. So anyway, I am so close to being done. I'm gonna go continue reading. Hi, it's a bit later, and what is happening in here is not okay for my heart. Like, it's not okay. I'm going through it right now. Margaret is going to absolutely break my freaking heart. Alice and Hayden, like, they're a top tier couple for me, I think. I am adoring them. I fear this book is gonna destroy me. I fear this book is going to destroy me. I am seriously loving it so much, and I just need to get to the end and figure out what's gonna happen. I am loving this. Okay, can I keep reading? Great Big Beautiful Life. This book was pretty near perfect. I went into reading this book kind of unsure. I kind of talked about this, how in the past I have enjoyed Emily Henry, but I haven't ever been completely floored by her. Beach read is the closest I've ever been to really loving an Emily Henry book, and I do love beach read, but when I look back on it, I love the story more than the writing, and that kind of seems to be how it's gone for every Emily Henry book that I've read. I think she is a fantastic storyteller. I think she has these beautiful romances with unique plots. I love that they're about writers or authors or publishers or whatever. And I love the way that she does banter, but it's just that normally Emily Henry's writing has a way of losing my interest. But this book was quite the opposite, and I am just blown away by that. I think the difference for this book not only was something about her writing felt different, but it was also the fact that it was not just strictly a romance, but it also had kind of like a mystery element to it. This book was giving The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo mixed with an Emily Henry romance, which I just absolutely ate up. I think I loved Alice and Hayden both in this, and I think it's so important to really love both of your main protagonists in a romance, obviously, because otherwise they just feel kind of unbearable and you don't want the couple to be together. But in this, the only things I could say that are negative are, one, it felt a little insta-lovey. It did happen really quickly. I was kind of like, whoa, they're already together. Whoa, they're already confessing love. But I can look past insta-love when everything else goes so right. The other thing is there was the mention of a height difference so many times. I was kind of just like, okay, we get it. Like Alice mentions how tall Hayden is in comparison to her height and how they're both tall and how that doesn't work together to have two tall people. Like, so many times in the beginning of the book, I was like, we understand that you are both tall. What do you want us to do with it? Like, it was kind of funny to me, kind of comical. But once those comments stopped, like, there was nothing pulling me out of this story. There was nothing to complain, no notes. I just adored it. I also really loved following Margaret and kind of learning her story throughout this. It got to a point near the end where I was just feeling so many emotions, learning about her life and her family's life and what she's been through and how she's been in hiding for so long. Like, this book took me on an emotional roller coaster in a way that I was not expecting, but it was everything to me. What I also liked about this book is I found myself relating to it or finding other people that I know in it, which I love when a book is just very relatable, hits very close to home. For example, I saw one of my friends in Alice and one of her relationships, and Alice and her mom really struck me as me and my mom in a lot of ways. And as I was reading it, I was just feeling very seen, and it was something that I don't find often, but I feel like that emotionally connects me to the story so much more, and that just made me enjoy it that much more. Like, if I can really feel myself, see myself in the character, like, you're gonna get me, you're gonna make me fall in love. So that was a big thing for me in this. So needless to say, through all of that, I actually can't believe that I'm gonna say this, but Great Big Beautiful Life just earned a 5-star in my book. And like I've said, earning 5 stars is so hard for me. Like, you have to be just an impeccable, amazing, wonderful, just breathtaking, blow me away. That's what a book has to do to be 5 stars. And this one somehow did it. I was not expecting this in the slightest, but here we are. And I'm really excited because I feel like this has me excited to read Emily Henry books in the future, which I'm always hesitant about. And I honestly, every time I pick up an Emily Henry, I'm like, maybe this is my last, but this convinced me it certainly will not be my last. So there we have it. There is my 5-star for the video. Only took a few books to get there. And I'm just so happy that I found her. Newest addition to the family, little break in the video. Say hello! This is Sylvie, or Sylveon, named after the Pokemon. Okay, hey, this is the last time you're gonna see my face for this video. I just wanted to come in here and do a quick little recap of how this video went, what I ended up reading. This video went worlds better than I ever thought it would. As we know, the whole point was for me to find a 5-star read, and I thought that would take 5 books minimum. But no, we found a 5-star in 3 books, which is insane, and what's even more insane is the book that was the 5-star to me. So let me recap what I read. So we started off this video strong with Recursion by Blake Crouch. This was a fantastic read for me. The only reason that it ended up being 4 stars instead of 5 was because it just didn't hit the mark that Dark Matter by Blake Crouch did. It didn't blow me away like that one did, so it could not be the same rating. Then I moved into one that I was highly anticipating but ended up being a huge disappointment, Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. This one should have been right up my alley, but instead I just felt so disappointed. I ended up giving it 2.75 stars, which is quite low and not what I hoped for. And finally, we found the 5-star read with none other than Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which just blows my mind because, as I said, I don't have the best history with Emily Henry books being 5-star reads for me, but this one just did it. It was so fantastic. I loved everything about it. It wasn't just romance. I just found it to be such a fun concept, and I just loved it. So those were the books that I read for this video. I had so much fun. The hardest part about reading for me lately is just picking the books because I always feel like I have such a hard time doing that. But my next video is actually going to take that struggle off my hands. So stick around for that if you're interested. You will learn more soon. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for watching me read these 3 books. I had so much fun. I hope you had just as much fun watching. If you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to be friends, all my socials are linked down below. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.